Hello, everyone. My name is Benjamin Spatos. Welcome to the Music and Mental Health Online Reflections Session 2. And here with me on the panel, we have Naga Maria, community psychologist. And we just we're just here to talk about matters to deal with mental health and to hint a bit about on what music can do in the fight for advocating for positive mental health. Naga, how are you doing? How have you been?
I'm doing great, and you?
Okay. Um, I I feel like the topic we're going to talk about today is it touches me a lot because um, I'm a I'd say a victim to it, and
Yeah,
yeah, I think after this discussion, I think I will learn a lot, and I hope somebody out there will learn a lot as well on how to deal with suicidal cases and yeah, the topic for today, which I forgot to mention, is suicide among the youth. Um,
yeah,
it's something that me I feel is at a high is at a high rate, uh, and yet our country or we haven't yet been able to ascertain the right figures or right numbers to its magnitude. But
true.
from general news to like if you just run a simple survey in your own community, you get to realize that the highest number of people who are actually having suicidal thoughts or people who are actually committing suicide are youth of late.
Yeah,
And it's very alarming and it questions why, what are the reasons as to why the youth are actually committing suicide or wanting to commit suicide? What has changed
yeah,
over a couple of years? Um, I'm not saying that, okay, it's okay for adults to commit suicide, but then
mm,
we need to understand why that trend has changed. Why is it the youth now, the young ones, the ones who are supposed to be uh, eager to live more,
mm-hmm,
to live life, to enjoy life. Why are they
yeah,
now thinking about ending their lives? Um,
yeah. Well, I think for me, we need to understand from the beginning what is suicide, what are some of the statistics around suicide, who is at risk, you know? So I think I'm going to start from the beginning. What is suicide? Suicide is ending one's life. But then suicide ideation is more like a thought. Someone someone thinks about suicide. Someone is always thinking about suicide, while suicide is the actual act. Yeah. So there is a difference. We have people that think about committing suicide. So they have these ideations, these ideas, but they've actually never attempted. They have never even written down how they would want, to commit suicide or their plan. So those are people that have the idea, okay? And then we have suicide attempted survivors. These are people that have actually committed suicide, but it never went through. Maybe they survived. You remember a gentleman that jumped from Maririzi, up from Maririzi and fell down? Yes, he attempted suicide, but we all remember that he was taken to hospital and he was, treated. So statistically, 13.42 per 1,000 people actually commit suicide. So that is a high rate. And suicide is 3 times higher in men than women.
ah,
So the question would be why? And I think for me, in my own understanding, I think it's because women open up more about what they're going through. And with men, they slag a bit behind, they stay a bit behind, they're preserved. So I guess that's why the risks are higher in men than women. I am not sure, but according to me, my understanding. So that means 132 people in the world commit suicide every day. But I'm just imagining there are people that attempt and it doesn't go through. Someone finds someone on the road trying to commit suicide and you talk to them and then you save their lives. Someone tries to hang himself, someone talks to them and you save their life. But worldwide, it's a million people that commit suicide. It's so high, but the only issue that in our country, in Uganda, we do not really have the statistics to cover up, the number of cases that we have. Because I think even before this lockdown, there was a Makerere student doing law, I think. Then there was one at, is it East African University? Somewhere, that one of the universities, either Kampala or East African University. So yes, these cases are there, but there is low attention, given to these cases. But I also want us to know that suicide is among the top leading deaths for people between the age of 15 to 44. So while we have the accidents, while we have this, while we have that, suicide is among the top 10, maybe even among the top 5. Some people, according to their research, they say it's among the top 3, others say among the top 4, others among the top 10. It differs where you're from. But of suicide cases take place in low middle income countries. Okay, so if we're having suicide take place in low middle income countries, we all know that Uganda is part of those countries, right? If it is at 77%, we know that Uganda is part of those countries. While most people thought suicide is higher in, developed countries, and, it's simply because developed countries have their statistics, their statistics come out. So when we look at statistics and we're saying, oh, but the US has a very high statistics, but that's not the fact. It's just because they put out their statistics more than we do. They do their research more than we do. But in actual sense, we also have people in low and middle income countries that commit suicide. As much as, yes, it is higher that side, but ours is high, it's just that the cases are not really covered. So we want to know who is at risk, right? While Benjamin believes it's the youth, it's, that's true, the youth, we are more prone to this, but then still among us, the youth, there are those that are actually more prone to it, than those that are actually at more risk, So one, it could be a link, you have a link to mental health challenges. For example, you're probably going through depression, anxiety, PTSD, it could be abuse, it could be anything that has affected your mental health. So when you look at some of these mental health challenges, when they're asking you the triggers, there is always a question for, have you ever thought of taking your own life? That is a question that comes up on PHQ-9 for testing depression. And then we have impulsive moments of crisis. We know of people that have committed suicide, and it's not like they have a mental health challenge. It's not like they've gone through a lot, but it's just in that moment, someone wakes up and they realize everything they've known in their life is actually false. I'm looking at a person who was who was maybe raised in a family, and you know, this person has not always been loved in this family, but they have struggled to fit in. They've struggled to, you know, and then they wake up one morning to just realize that they actually don't belong to this family at any one point. Someone can commit suicide. We have seen the pandemic coming in. The first time it came, it shocked everyone. Some people lost everything they had in a blink of an eye. Then they, you know, they commit suicide. At times, suicide, people that commit suicide, they are escaping from their pain. They feel like this is a way to end their suffering, you know? So it's not something people just snap out of. Yeah. So you can't tell someone who is having suicide ideations, hey, man, snap out of it. That's not the solution. You know, there is a way we need to talk to them, because to them, this is the only solution they have on their plate to overcome whatever they're going through. So we have people that are in our conflicts. It could be family, be country conflict. We have disaster. We have violence. We have abuse. When I talk about abuse, I'm talking about sexual abuse. It could be marital abuse. It could be emotional abuse. It could be physical abuse. So these people are at a higher risk of actually committing suicide. We also have, I think this is the greatest. We have previous suicide attempters, attempted suicide the first time, but then they survived, or someone saved them. You know, maybe they had taken poison and then, you know, they were a rush at doing it again in case they're not provided with, you know, the help that they need. We have bullying, you know, maybe you've been bullied whole of your life and you're like, I need to end this, you know. We have kids or relatives that have been rejected. You were rejected from day one. Your mother left you at your, let me say your mother left you, or your father left you, either on your paternal or maternal side. You don't fit in. Everyone looks at you as a gone case. You're the, I don't know, looked at as the black sheep. You're looked at as a nobody. These things, you know, eat us up day by day, and they can eventually grow into something. And when people look at suicide and they're like, well, I can just end my misery, and they look at suicide as a solution. Yet for us, me and you, Benjamin, we are here to actually say suicide is not the solution. So there is family history. I believe, Benjamin, you have had in Uganda, there is a culture. If you hang yourself on a tree, they beat you up and they bury you there. They don't take you to your, you know, to your home where they're supposed to bury you, because they believe if they take you maybe to your ancestral grounds, this spirit can grow on. You know, like I said, we don't leave out the fact that some of these cultural stuff actually are a good thing and are a bad thing. But then family history, it could be a child saw their father commit suicide. And then when they also grow up and feel that they're challenged and things are not going their way, and they feel like, then they also maybe get the idea that, hey, if dad did this, I can do this. But imagine this can actually grow and grow and grow and grow. So I don't know, Benjamin, if as far as what I have talked about, you have any questions. Before you go to the questions, I want to let people know that poisoning is one of the highest. In Uganda, it's poisoning or hanging yourself. While in other countries, we have guns, you know, but guns are limited in our country for use. So it's either poisoning or hanging themselves. Yeah, so you could, you know, ask anything before I continue, throw more light on something, share something, your own experience, your own, you know, your own thought about this.
Thank you very much, Nika. This is really, this is a nice conversation, and you know, coming um, from somebody like you, and in the morning like this, I think my day is going to be very bright. Um, I really, I know, I know like the reasons as to why like people commit suicide vary, you know, and then they can range from very simple, okay, things that people might look at something as simple, but then to someone,
Yeah,
you know, that's something enough for them to, you know, click that, you know, there's no more meaning in this world. And for me, it was relationships.
yeah,
If it's somebody else, would be like, sure, how can you like kill yourself because of a lady or because of
I
ladies?
know.
And you're like, oh yeah,
Mm,
you're not a man enough, or you're not strong enough, or those kind of things. But then we need to realize that people are different and how they take things vary. I as a
true.
person, I'm very emotional, so depending on how I'm treated, uh, it affects how I respond to it. And yeah. But anyway, I wanted to share about my experience with suicide. There were
Mm,
several times when I tried to hang myself, but you know the thing, those times whereby you're actually ready, you have the rope, you set the place where you go to. We had a bush in Gayaza, some kind of farm, but it was the perfect place. Not so many people would come in every now and then.
yeah,
But then, just when you're about to just jump, somebody comes, and to me it happened every time. And then
mm,
it's on the third time, it's on the third attempt that I started questioning. Maybe I am not actually supposed to end my life. Why is it that every time
yeah,
I try to do it, somebody shows up? You know, because
mm,
I wasn't afraid of it. I wasn't afraid to end my life. That was I was at
yeah,
that point whereby I had made the choice to find a better purpose somewhere else
yeah,
besides life,
mm,
and I thank God, I would say, because I don't think it's anybody. Nobody knew about what I was doing. My mom never knew about it. My sister never
mm,
knew about it. Not even my friends, my closest friends. So to me, I feel like okay, yeah, the it's not the youth that are the main or that are the highest in terms of suicidal cases, but I think for today we can focus on how to understand why the youth are actually suicidal, and then maybe but then in order to understand them, I think the background you gave, Naiga, is really important, like knowing
yeah,
first of all what suicide is, and knowing the different stages. Besides it being a thought, there are those that are actually survivors, you know.
true.
And I think that the main goal is to not only just stop people from actually having negative thoughts or suicidal thoughts, but also to guide
Mm,
those who have already survived a suicidal attempt not to
yeah,
fall back.
yes.
And
And like I said, that previous suicide attempters are at a higher risk because I mean, look at your story. You attempted not only once, but 3 times. You get my point. So
yeah,
I think the link that is missing is that when this person has attempted and you've just talked to them and then just let them be, they will have the idea still. So they will attempt another time. For me, I think that once you save a person from committing suicide, there should be a prolonged process of you following up, hearing from them, knowing how they're doing, get them the best help they can get. Because at the end of the day, my stopping you today and taking you back home and leaving you there does not take away the cause of the cause of you wanting to commit suicide. The cause still remains, and I still remain on my goal that I have to commit suicide. But when we actually get them the help that they need, And you know, it could be talk therapy, some take medication. It depends, because your suicide ideation may be coming from your depression, you know. So if you don't get your depression treated, that means it's going to stay there. Not everyone that is depressed gets these suicide ideations or is suicidal. But we are just simply saying, for as long as we know the cause, we can help. Yeah. So you're right. I think for me, youth, like you said, youths have all the reasons, and the problem is we undermine these reasons. You know, we undermine the fact that someone can commit suicide because of love. Someone can commit suicide because of rejection. People look at the bigger picture of, oh my God, why would someone someone, when they hear that someone committed suicide because they were having very many loans, their house was taken, their family was left on the streets, and when that person commits suicide, people feel like that is a better reason than me, who was broken up with my boyfriend and he has broken my heart. People find that, for me, that's a very weak reason. Who commits suicide because of a broken relationship? But people forget that we are different. Like Benjamin, like you've said, we are different. You know, the grit that I have, the the perseverance that I have, yeah, the resilience that I have differs from the resilience that Benjamin has, you know. Plus, we all believe in something. We all have things we believe in. Some people will say, because me, I'm a Christian, I believe it's evil to commit. It's keeping them safe from not committing suicide. You get my point? Other people will think that, hey, suicide is an abomination in my family, so I cannot. It is wrong for them to think like that, but it's actually keeping them in their line. Like I said, there is stigma. Stigma is one of those biggest causes of so many problems. Yeah. Taboos. But I want to acknowledge the fact that these same taboos have also saved some people's lives. You get my point, Benjamin?
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm imagining in yeah, I'm imagining in the Baganda culture where they tell you they beat up the dead body, they shame your family. Some people, that is enough for them to say, no, suicide is never on my list. I need to find other ways. You get my point?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the stigma, it's the taboo around it. But at the end of the day, some people have actually found this as a remedy to not commit suicide. How can I shame my family? No, I would rather drink myself till death, but I will not kill myself. And people will say they committed suicide. I do not want to shame my parents. You get my point?
I do.
But at the
But
same
also,
time, pardon?
no, you continue, please.
Yeah, but at the same time, I want us to acknowledge that the more we stigmatize people that have attempted to commit suicide, the more we don't talk about suicide, the more it's going to happen. Okay? Okay, fine. If for you, you call it a taboo and it is saving you, then don't stop another person from actually understanding it. You know, don't stop the conversation that comes up. I, I do know that when a topic opens up, let me say, in a society, in a teenagers, excuse me, and then someone says, banange, banange, abantu abetta baba basiru. People that commit suicide are stupid. Trust me, when this conversation happens, there is usually amongst you that has attempted or has thought. And when you start talking like this, you are actually increasing on their thought, because they're thinking, okay, so if they're already thinking I'm stupid, then what's the point of surviving? You know, what's the point of holding on?
Hmm. Uh,
Because of love. Now, relationship ending, they still undervalue it in terms of people wanting to commit suicide. You get my point? So for me, I feel like youth, the reasons that people consider small, non-justifiable, kiddish, those are the same reasons as to why most of the youth actually commit suicide. So maybe we should pay more attention to the little things than the big things when it comes to youth. And then when it's adults, let's pay attention to those, those loans. Let's pay attention to those divorces. You get my point? But when it comes to these youths, the us, I think let's pay attention to rejection. Let's pay attention to broken relationships. Let's pay attention to the substance and alcohol abuse. You get my point? Let's pay attention to those girls and boys that are always looked at as nobodies. Yeah, those people that are always looked at, they're not good enough. They're not good enough for the circles. They're not good enough for the community. They're not good enough for the cool kids. Because these same people that we push away are becoming statistics. So Benjamin, it's upon me and you and anyone else that is listening and anyone else that is actually paying attention to, let's open our arms. Let's be more accommodating. Yeah. Benjamin, I was watching a video and someone was actually doing a study on how people have lost their empathy. People have lost love and care for people. I don't know whether it's the pandemic because everyone is scared to, approach one another. But this guy put a 7-year-old at a train station and told her to just sit there and see if someone will approach her and actually ask, are you lost? Do you need help? Where is your mom? Where is your dad? Benjamin, you won't believe. 5 hours passed and no one, with all the million people that were passing this child, no one attempted to actually ask this child. They took her to another station. Same thing happened. No one attempted. And out of the billion people that passed this child, it's only one guy that came. And that was after 10 hours and asked her, are you okay? Are your parents close by? And then she said, yes, I'm actually just filming. But imagine, this is what is happening in the world. You find someone seated on the veranda talking to themselves, me, I'm going to end my life. What's the point? And then you pass them and tell them, you took long.
Yeah.
Then what's like, then where is the world going? Because if you hear someone actually grumbling or someone saying these things, and the best thing you can actually tell them is that they have taken long to commit suicide, is that they have actually taken long to attempt, it's like you're supporting them to take their own lives. You get my point? So we are no longer paying attention to the little things. And I think, Benjamin, you will agree with me. It's maybe because people are tired. People are just tired to care about others, or people don't even want to know, or people don't know that this is actually eating our society up. There is hearing, there is understanding, there is knowing, and there is taking action. So Benjamin, back to you. You probably have so many ideas that you want to add on. Usually I get blown away with some topics and I just want to put everything out there. So forgive me when I go a little bit overboard.
No. It's okay. I think it's fine for us to go overboard, especially when it comes to mental health issues. Because, man, like nobody is really talking about these things, and people want to hear about these things. People want to talk about suicide. People want to talk about depression, they want to talk about anxiety, they don't know where to go
Yeah,
to talk about these things or to even
true.
get a solution to them. And one of the biggest challenges, I think, um, if I'm to try and sum up all you're saying, I think that the main thing is we need to change our mindset towards
Yes,
suicide, you know, and
yes,
not focus on things that we already know about it, whereby you say, okay, the only people that can commit suicide are probably the ones that have all these kind of businesses. So if their businesses go down, or if
uh-huh,
they have loans, you know, we need to open up our minds to the fact that even maybe, okay, maybe a relationship, or just losing your job, or I don't know,
yes,
just meeting somebody on the road and they tell you something negative can actually make you commit suicide. And the thing is, for me, um, even if it was relationships, there were so many other events that pushed me to that. So many
yeah,
times you might find that someone, yeah, after a very big event, they have the suicidal thought, but then they're not yet ready to actually commit suicide. But then every step of the way that they take, the people they meet, the words they tell them, like you
yeah,
could go to a friend and then your friend is just not clicking, they're not really getting you very well. You're telling them like, man, this thing is happening and this and that, and then they're probably laughing at you, they're just, making fun or joke
I
about like
know.
everything
They're
that's
not
going on.
hearing you.
Exactly. So that's the point, and I think that's something that we all need to start realizing or noticing with our friends or our families. If for many people, or for some people who are suicidal, um, there is that point, there is that window, there's that frame in their life whereby they start looking for support, they start looking for help from the closest people around them. And sometimes they might not be direct. They might not be really
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm going to commit suicide, help me out. But then they may just call you at weird hours. And all they need is just to listen to some kind of hopeful words from you. And you can never know. You could be the person that um, these people like look up to, or the kind of person who inspires them. And they may just call you at a
mm,
particular time when you're probably are not feeling well, or when you're just in your bad mood, and then you end up telling them something that just pushes them to do um, the worst thing. So um, if you're listening to this out there, we need you to know that we think and care about you. If you ever have a suicidal thought, um, I think Naga will give that advice, but then
eh,
I don't know what to tell
yeah.
somebody who has a suicidal thought. But I think what
I
we
mean,
can. Mhm.
it's it's a start. Your inbox is available, my inbox is available. It's a start. You can talk to someone about it. Yeah. But I wanted to tell you that the biggest obstacle of or the biggest challenge um about suicide is one, it's the stigma around it and the taboos around it. It's the lack of um, accurate information around it. You know, it's it's the lack of actually the data and the statistics, particularly for our country. Because when you talk about suicide, you don't have the numbers in Uganda. But if people have this thing of, if I see numbers, then I know this thing is serious. You remember when okay, we weren't yet born when HIV just started, but I am pretty sure during that time, no one believed until numbers started coming up. Same case with COVID. When the government started posting numbers and numbers and numbers and numbers, people were paying attention. But remember when they made a mistake on the data they posted, then people lost the interest of following up. Then people started thinking, this is a hoax, this is a lie. You get my point. Data carries a lot of meaning. Now, in this second wave, when I get 5 phone calls, and 5 out of those 5 phone calls, 3 are of people that are telling me my relative has died, my cousin has died, your relative has passed away because of COVID. Then I start to think, okay, so COVID is actually, it is real, and it is taking people that we love. So statistics also helps us understand something more. It helps us understand the volume of something, the magnitude at which the problem is. So you talked about people that need to seek for help. You talked about, I don't know if you asked me, but I think you should have asked me, or you asked me and I forgot. What are some of these signs that we're going to see in people? Why should we start looking out? How will I know that someone is actually, suicide is in my head, like the ideas are just in my head. But sometimes people actually say these things out. So some of the warning signs are, one, someone starts to threaten that they're going to take their own life. Please start taking that seriously. I actually got so pissed at a musician. I do not actually care whether this musician is going to criticize me, but I am going to speak out because I am a mental health facilitator and I know what it means when people start making fun of certain issues. Miss Henry had a song coming up, which is called Over Killer Portion. Well, it's something to do with that. Did you hear about Miss Henry trying to commit suicide some time back?
No, I haven't.
That was, yes, but he had a song coming out, and the song was called Over Killer Portion. And social media started posting that Miss Henry wants to commit suicide, he needs help. Now, my problem is, just because you want to push a song doesn't mean you use some of these very, very sensible, very vulnerable things, because I in the process of wanting to access Abika, do something, go to a rehab, find a therapist. And before I knew it, 1 week down, his song was released. I hear a killer portion, I will kill myself. I think this is what exactly is going wrong in the community. It's because people undermine real things. It's the same problem I have with someone who has just gotten a small problem today and they say, oh my God, I am so depressed. Oh my God, I can't take it anymore. And what they're talking about that is depressing them is because the new lipstick that came out, they were not able to buy it. And in that moment, they start saying, I am so depressed, I'm so hard. And then the next day, when in that moment, when you give them the lipstick, then their mood changes. Oh my God, I'm so happy, I am so jolly. These same people are actually making serious things look unserious. For crying out loud, suicide is real. People are committing suicide every day, every second, every minute. But if we come out to, to talk about things like as if they're a joke, that is when I really go off board. Like, it drives me nuts to know that people that are educated, people that are aware that these things are real, get to actually use these terms as any other joke. Okay, so
Yeah.
once someone starts talking about threat, like someone threats to take their lives, that is a warning sign. Pay attention. Self-harm, pay attention. Self-harm can be cutting themselves. It could be, taking things that are not healthy. We have reckless behavior. Someone that has not been actually behaving recklessly starts behaving recklessly. You see them crossing the road without fear. They don't even care. And then when you tell them, hey, be careful, you need to cross the road, look left, look right. And then they tell you, who cares? I already want to be dead anyway. Pay attention. People starting to say they have no reason to live. Pay attention. You know, when someone starts telling you, me, I don't have a reason to live. What's the point of living? What's the point of carrying on with this life? My life is already miserable. Let me save people from, you know, pay attention. Aggressive behavior. The people that are always tempting others to fight them, but then they never want to fight back because the whole entire thing is beat me up till I can't take it anymore. You know, maybe when you beat me up and I hit my head somewhere, I will eventually die. And, you know, increased use in drug and alcohol abuse. These things are real, you know, but people usually just ignore, take them for granted. People will withdraw from society and you'll be, but Maria used to be everywhere. Maria used to be jolly. When was the last time we saw a video of Maria on, you know, Instagram, YouTube, or whatever? Pay attention. People write about their own deaths. You can find someone has written an entire plan of how they're going to end their life. Let's pay attention. And finally, before Benjamin comes in, how can we help them is the biggest question. Yes, we have seen the signs. Yes, we have realized that my friend is going through something, but how am I going to help them? Rule number one, stay calm. You as a person who is going to help, stay calm, because you're going to come with all your energy. This person has already contemplated on this for a while, and they will kill your energy. Like, just stay calm. Go in when you're as calm as possible. Have a reasoning tone. Like, calm down. You don't go with a lot of energy to such people, you know. Calm down, get to the ground where they are, and remind them that you're here to listen, not to judge. Okay? Remind them that you are here to listen and not to judge. Acknowledge their pain. Because I am telling you, my boyfriend dumped me, I want to end my life. Don't start telling Miss Manyanga, even me, I was there. He also dumped me. But you see, my life is doing well. You do not know what my boyfriend and I had. What we had is different from what you guys had. Okay? So acknowledge my feelings of why I am feeling the way I'm feeling, instead of actually brushing them off by reminding me how you also got dumped. Offer support and encouragement. You know, remind them, I will be here in case you need me. I'm going to be here. I'm not going anywhere. If you want to talk about it, I am still here. Okay? Don't judge, like I say, don't minimize someone's problem, because we are all different people. Remind them that help is available. It's very important to remind them that help is always available. Whatever you're struggling with, someone out there can actually help you. Okay? Help them find care. Remember when I told you, Benjamin, that the biggest gap is you save someone from committing suicide and then you move on? The idea still remains. You haven't got them the help that they need. So let's go a step forward to finding them the help that they need and the support. And I think support system around us, families, let's pay attention. Parents, let's pay attention to our kids. Let's pay attention to our own friends. Let's pay attention to our neighbors. I'm not saying poke your nose into people's businesses, but look at, do they need the help? Okay, so Benjamin, I think for me, my discussion was revolving around putting this out there, giving people the knowledge, and I'm hoping that people actually use it well. Like I said, I apologize if Miss Henry is not the one that actually posted that he wants to take his own life. And maybe it's the social media that, push this whole idea. But I still want to tell people out there, please do not minimize mental health. Do not use words like, I am depressed, when you are actually not. Don't talk about suicide as something that you eat like a snack, okay? Because people genuinely need the help. But once we minimize these things, people will not come out to seek help, you know? So Benjamin, I will give you back the mic. I am not seeing you, but I hope you're
Um,
still around. So Benjamin,
yeah, this was really a nice conversation. I see we are coming toward the end of the time we set. But I feel like this was really really nice. If you're watching this on social media, please leave us comments about what you think about suicide. Um, if you're among the youth um, bracket and you know someone, you've had someone, or you've had suicidal thoughts before, share with us um, how it feels. Let us know what you think should be done better. And I think if anybody in the government is actually watching this video, I think now it's time for them to think about suicidal cases as something as a priority, as much as
yeah,
just as so many other mental health conditions. I feel like there's not been so much concern or attention paid to them. When you look at how COVID has come in, it's been so easy to actually get numbers, to deploy people to actually, try and ascertain
yeah,
how many people are dying here and there. Um, but then suicidal cases, well, it's nothing, people kill themselves. Your neighbor can kill themselves, and you don't even know until about some days or weeks after the body starts rotting,
I
and I
know.
think those kind of things are just to let us know that we need to pull our socks up. We need to um, think about the people around us, think about what they're doing, mind about them, check on them. You never know what they're going through. You might be just there and you think,
True.
this guy is doing well, he goes out every morning and comes back every evening, and he's okay, or she's okay, she's just fine. She dresses up well, she's smiling and laughing all the time. But then um, one of the things about people who are suicidal, you just won't know, you know. They will put up that face,
Yeah,
and I think it's just something that is similar with so many people with mental health conditions. Even with somebody who's depressed, you're not really
yeah.
going to find them, like with a gloomy face or just
With a price tag
crying
on
anyhow.
themselves.
You know, they're going to put up that smiley face, and
Yeah.
it actually will be very convincing. But the thing is, we need to step into this together, and and stop feeling like, okay, suicide is not or suicidal cases are not anything I identify with, or they're not people I want to deal with. um, and then
Mm,
religion and culture and tradition, I think, yeah, they have a role to play, and they've
true.
done they've done what they feel is good or what is best. But of course, we know there are certain areas that probably need um,
To
um,
adjust,
to
improve.
adjust. Yeah, yeah. Probably it worked at a particular time, but now
Mm-hmm.
so many things are changing. So many things have already changed, and they're changing now. So you cannot choose to follow a particular system if at all that system is really not being effective as much. Um,
Mm.
so, Naga, you'll give us maybe your last final remarks, your message to people, and we can take this conversation on social media when we post this video. And see how to
Yeah.
organize the next session again. Yeah.
I think my number one thing for each one of us to take from here is people's issues. One another. Let's pay more attention to the people around us and ourselves, you know? Let's give credit where it's due. That, hey, some people have actually tried to help, you know? But also, I want us to end the stigma around mental health generally, not only stigma around suicide, but stigma around mental health generally. Because once we end the stigma around mental health, things like suicide will also, like a light will be thrown onto them as well, because they're all under mental health. Yeah, let's hit the big stone, which is ending stigma around mental health. But also, if you're out there, you've had the thought, you've written down the plan, there are so many people that are willing to help. Mental Health Uganda is one of the organizations I work with. I am personally willing to help. Okay, let's talk about these things. Let's find another solution. Let us not look at ending our lives as the only solution. There are other solutions. I guarantee you there are other solutions. Let's seek for help. Let us not shy away from receiving help simply because we are scared that people will talk about us, but let us seek for help for us. And finally, I am so happy that I get to do these videos with you, Benjamin, with all that gorgeous voice of yours. Today I've not heard you sing, but I am sure that people that have watched your videos are like, oh my God, this guy can sing. Up to now, I can't forget the day I met you when you sang, and I was like, yeah, some people will sing and you know exactly what they're talking about. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I want people, when you get feedback from people, let them tell us what would they want us to talk about. You know, let's get feedback from people. What do they want us to talk about? Do we need to go back from the first video that we made and clarify things? And then, you know, because we're not doing this for just, but we're doing it for the people and for our sakes. So as much as I would love to talk about this the entire day, we also have time limits. So I think, Benjamin, for me, I want people to go home knowing there is help. There is help out there. Mental Health Focus Uganda, I am here. If you don't know me, Benjamin knows me. You know, you can contact him. He will get to me. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we need to support one another, not to judge one another. Home, let's keep safe. Let's sanitize. Let's keep our social distance. Let's wear our mask. The moment you're getting out of the house, the moment you're going somewhere, please wear a mask. And if you can, avoid going to your old, you know, old fellas, your parents, your relatives, please avoid going there, just so that we can keep them safe as well. So Benjamin, back to you. Hello, Benjamin, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Sorry. I was just I want to do a song, like a short song. There's a song I did for suicide, and yeah, I was just getting this camera to work, but anyway, uh, yeah. So I also wanted to share these links in case you can see them. Whoever maybe want to follow Niger, um, There's an Instagram username just below my name. Let me see if I can make it. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, you can follow me on any of the social media links there. But also you can follow Niger. Her Instagram username is Mary Queen B, just the way it's written, just down there. So I'm going to end this with a short song for one of my songs in my EP album. I call it Pingo Dano Dene, and it's a word in Acholi that means why do people commit suicide? Okay. Suicide is taking lives more than we'll ever know. Why don't we stand together and change this? Suicide is taking lives more than we'll ever know. Why don't we stand together and fight this? Pingo dano dene, pingo dano dene, pingo dano dene lutua. Pingo dano dene, pingo dano dene, pingo dano dene, iwilobokan. Yep. So that was the song. So thank you very much to everyone who has been watching this, and for all those that will be watching this on social media, we're looking forward to having you comment and let us know what you think on suicide generally, and on everything that we've had to talk about, and most importantly, what you would want us to talk about. If you want us to throw more light on something we've already discussed before, please let us know, and we'll see how to do that as well. The recorded videos for the previous session are on my Facebook page, Benjamin Spatos. Also, they're on my channel, Benjamin Spatos, as well. So you can check out the previous recording for the meeting, and we'll also have this recording ready by we will let you know probably by the weekend. Yeah. So thank you very much once again, and see you again the next time.
See you. Thanks, guys.